there is a regimented kind of value system for classical music that I think instills in some people a mode of condescension, but that doesn't have to be the case. And that blew my mind coming here.
The experimenter program feels like a new step actually in the way that we're collaborating and working with creators. We're stepping a little bit outside of our comfort zone, and actually the people who we're bringing in are also doing that. It's a new type of exploration for both parties. Bebe and I have both been showing them the endless possibilities from our different instruments, myself with the violin and Bebe with a massive array of percussion.
Some people from classical music backgrounds, so they probably already familiar with the things I was talking about. But some people are not from classical music. Probably they have never heard this type of playing, this type of sound, or even the instrument. So we'll see. They might bring me some new ideas, and I can learn. So it's mutual learning.
We've had so much time in the workshops and rehearsals to really get into the nitty-gritty stuff of the pieces and just try out as many things as we want. And Raki and Bebe are always up for trying anything we want to hear. In the workshop, Bebe kind of went through all the instruments and the possibilities of what we could do.
So today I've got a set of percussion instruments, including timpani, concert tom-toms, bongos, and anything else, or a pipe from my dehumidifier machine.
I work with a lot of voice because I'm predominantly a singer and a producer, but I never worked with a percussionist before actually. So that's been a huge learning curve. The way that this residency has unfolded is, we had some classes together at first. We looked at different kinds of scores and different ways to articulate, communicate our ideas. And then we had one rehearsal where I just asked them to do the weirdest stuff and recorded that and went away and thought about how that might add to whatever ideas I had. The beginning of it especially, I kind of imagine like a machine starting up, going from here and starting up. So I really want you to play with that sonically.
And then we had a session of improvisation, me, Raki, and Bebe, where just based off of the quick demonstration, which is why my piece is called Demonstration, I outlined like a simple kind of structure for improvisation, and then we just improvised for some time. I took that away. On Logic, I just kind of like collaged sounds and created a whole kind of piece. And then I was like, cool, I'm not gonna play this. And then I scored kind of like the feeling I was going for with that electronic piece. But then I wanted to make the organic kind of fully acoustic version. I spoke to Heloise Warner, and they just kind of walked through my score and just made sure it was a bit more legible. I haven't written a traditional score, it's like lettering and stuff.
Ah, okay.
Maybe that's what that's supposed to be. I'll draw that better. But that's supposed to be like a rest symbol or like a don't play nothing.
Okay, so that's resting.
Then you're playing everything.
Everything, okay.
So you're going to and then on that as well. On this. And now we've just rehearsed the rejigged score that I wrote after those tips. Sounds amazing. The musicians seem happy and it's playable. So I am satisfied.
So the piece I made is called With Feeling. Raki and Bebe both doing their things with violin and percussion. And then I've got some samples, and then I also have like a ukulele bass plugged into some pedals. So yeah, that's the main kind of like setup. I think definitely one of my biggest inspirations is nature, and I guess sort of like related, I'm inspired a lot by like films. Music sort of captures different worlds in a sound for me, and films capture concepts and ideas, not just sonically but visually as well. And yeah, since I've been young, I've just always loved kind of getting lost in those worlds.
It's nice to find the way that it relates and reacts to the visuals,
Yes.
isn't it? So actually to use the visuals as the prompt for what we do, because it sounds like that's how you've kind of written.
There's a visual kind of element to it, which is not, like we won't be playing exactly to it, but I kind of made the visual and the piece sort of bouncing off each other. So I wanted one to be played as the other one was played as well.
I think this is the first longer piece I've done really. I'm used to doing quite short pieces, maybe 4 minutes, whereas this one's nearly 15, because I've had the chance to learn so much about the violin and all the percussion instruments. There's like a middle section that's very percussive, so I just went around my kitchen with a field recorder and recorded loads of like metallic sounds. And then I've processed them to not really sound like what they are.
As a producer, I sit in a studio and I can create everything, and I know how it's going to sound, and then I can rehearse it, and then I can take my voice out of it, and then I just step into an environment that I've created. Whereas with this, because I'm working with somebody else, there's a lot to be left to the imagination. So what I've done is planned out essentially this theatre piece, an environment that I can step into, and now I'm really trying my best to make space for Raki and Baby. The piece is called Pain of Atrophy.
I come from Lancashire, the home of the Lancashire cotton famine.
I work a lot with and think about stories and how they travel through time. I gathered a lot of information and did a lot of reading and then fed it all into ChatGPT.
Can you write me a short story no longer than 5 minutes long?
And started to sort of spar with it and try and, get to a story.
Prediction as to how we might make the same mistakes again.
I settled on a story and then I put it in a script and then I put it in a text-to-speech generator. And so the piece then is that exchange between, me asking it questions, how I felt, and then, in a roundabout way, the way that it responded.
Here's a short story from my perspective as an AI trained on humanity's history, knowledge, and ambition.
It's definitely given me lots of new information to work with, and I think helped to inform my own creative understanding in a different way, and just sort of helped it to branch into another space. And yeah, it's just also just nice to work with a really nice group of people, and not just Raki and Baby, but everyone kind of organised in it. Yeah, it's been really good.
I didn't expect to meet classical musicians that were so open. I don't know, I'm a musician and I'm a rapper as well, and if I'm being honest, I'm Black. And I have moved through classical spaces before just because of opportunities I've had, and there is a regimented kind of value system for classical music that I think instills in some people a mode of condescension, maybe separation from other types of music. But that doesn't have to be the case. And that blew my mind coming here.
I suppose this experience has made me realise that I can write different kinds of music and invite people to participate in different ways. Yeah, I'm looking forward to trying to expand into different places.